History Month. Whereas Black History Month brings historical issues reflecting the contributions and achievements and progress of African Americans in the United States for many decades. Whereas Dr. Carter G. Woodson, noted historian and founder of Black History Month, along with other prominent African Americans, were dedicated to bringing the public's attention to important developments that merit emphasis. Dr. Woodson passed away in 1950. And whereas Black History Month was first celebrated during a week in February 1926, it was expanded to a month in 1976, the nation's bicentennial. This was due to its overwhelming popularity among diverse people, groups, and organizations. President Gerald R. Ford urged Americans to seize the opportunity to honor the too often neglected accomplishments of Black Americans in every area of endeavor throughout our history. And whereas the 2020 theme is African Americans and the Vote, it marks the centennial of 19th Amendment and the culmination of the women's suffrage movement. And whereas city, county, state, and federal recognition on special and significant achievements including education, science, politics, innovation, religion, pioneering, sports, architecture, drama, inventions, music, drama, painting, and more are celebrated. And whereas the city of McAlester acknowledges that several local residents whose determination, talents, and concerns made our community better, Dr. Willa A. Strong, Reverend Wade Watts, Michael J. Hunter, Kermit Anderson, and his wife Thelma Anderson, they left a legacy of strength and commitment. Countless individuals have made a difference in the past, and many are engaging in positive action today. Now, therefore, I, John Brown, Mayor of the City of McAlester, Oklahoma, do hereby proclaim February 2020 as Black History Month in the City of McAlester, and urge my fellow citizens to observe this month by connecting with friends, relatives, and individuals to engage in activities and events to develop a compassionate, safe, and vibrant community. We are also going to have a little presentation by Kula Stanfield.
I am Kula Watts Stanfield, Reverend Wade Watts' daughter. And I would like to thank the mayor and the city council for your proclamation of Black History Month, and also for the naming of the street after my dad, Wade Watts. It was a long, hard struggle. I'd like to at least recognize Councilman Brown for his efforts in initiating that and seeing it through. It's an honor, and I own property on that street. I may never sell. It's in a commercially zoned area. So it's like, okay, what do I do? But I am so glad to be able to drive up and down that street and then have that monument at the bottom of the street that we've had to take care of, you've had to take care of several times for it's being desecrated, and you've had to remove some ugly names off of it from time to time. We've had to replace lights. But I am so grateful for you guys who are so diligent in making sure that that stays intact. And on behalf of my family, myself, and the Black community, we thank you.
Thank you. Where citizens' comments on non-agenda items, residents may address the council regarding an item that is not listed on the agenda. Residents must provide their name and address, and council requests that comments be limited to 5 minutes. I didn't have anybody sign up, but if there is anyone here that would like to speak, seeing no one, I will move to the consent agenda. All matters listed on the consent agenda are considered to be routine by the city council and will be enacted by one motion. There will not be separate discussion of these items. If discussion is desired, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately. The agenda tonight consists of A, approval of minutes from January 28, 2020, regular meeting of the McAlester City Council. B, approval of claims for February 5th, 2020 through February 18, 2020. C, consider and act upon a request from Sheriff Chris Morris on behalf of the Oklahoma Sheriff's Association to partner with them for the rental fee and use of McAlester Expo Center Room 103 for a free educational workshop and seminar scheduled for March 16th, 17th, and 18th, 2020 in the amount of $2,100. Would anyone like anything removed? Take a motion and a second to approve. Motion, Councilman Smith. Second, Councilman Brown. Any discussion? Corey, you call the roll, please.
Councilman Smith?
Yes.
Stevens?
Yes.
Hawks?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Harrison?
Yes.
Pritchard?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes, and the motion carries. We're on to agenda item number 1, presentation of the McAlester Regional Health Center update. Mr. Keith.
It'll warm up. Is he gonna put the lights on?
Mayor, City Councilmen, Administrative Staff, thank you for this opportunity to address you and the public. Today, I'm more about providing you some reference material than a presentation. I know in the past that we've been very specific, and I thought this go around, hopefully I can get a line over here.
Light over there work.
It doesn't work? Okay. All right, it's okay. So, again, this is more about reference material to you, and so I know for the sake of time, and it's a light agenda, I'll go through this rather quickly. As soon as I find okay. Okay. So it's okay. I won't need it anyway. Thank you. All right. So basically, the agenda is, and I'm going to go through this rather quickly, is really I'm outlining our strategic plan for you today in order to give you a sense of who we are, what we are, and why we are. But I'll talk a little bit about our critical success factors, our long-term objectives. I'm going to spend more time on our priorities today and then a little bit on our community impact. Okay.
Pretty touchy.
No kidding. It's going in the wrong direction, too. All right? Nope.
The right is forward, the left is back.
I got it. There we go. You're not kidding. Okay. We're almost there. I apologize. Okay. So here are our critical success factors. We know to be a robust hospital serving the communities that we serve, we have to differentiate ourselves. And so, what are the critical success factors we have to have to be a robust hospital? Well, we have to have good quality, good customer service. We have to have a strong employee base. We have to have providers. We have to have brand awareness, and we have to remain sustainable financially. We have long-term objectives. We want to have good outcomes, whether it be customer service or quality. We want to remain independent, serving Southeastern Oklahoma. We want to have a favorable impact on the population and those we serve. We need to manage the financials and be good stewards of those dollars. And we want to promote philanthropic efforts to help support us. Bottom line, these long-term objectives are to drive value to the communities that we serve, and especially to the city of McAlester. So we're going to hit on several priorities. This is the first group we'll talk about. This is the second group we talk about. These really get down into the details of our strategic plan. Priority one is about quality and customer service. And what are we concerned about and what is our focus in 2020? We want to reduce readmissions and we want to improve mortality outcomes. We want to improve our clinical documentation. We want to hear more from the voice of the customer and the family members that we serve. We want to have that good patient experience, and we want consistency while we practice with compassion, and we always want to improve. This really denotes the fact that we want to be a patient-centered organization, and we want to do and drive value for our patients. So here's an example of our customer service. I want you to know we don't hit home runs, but we are rounding the bases at all costs. So of the 9 things that we're measured on for our quality scores, look what we've done 7 out of 9 times. This is comparing third quarter of last year through third quarter of last year through third quarter 2009. We are improving on average 2 to 4% in every domain. And again, we're about consistency and quality improvement, and we continue to drive quality and customer service forward, and we expect to meet and or exceed national norms this next year in many of these domains. I talked about quality. We want to reduce readmissions. We don't want people to resurge back into the hospital when they don't need to. Right now, we're at 8.04%. Our goal is 8 or better. We're beating the national norm. And readmissions right back to MRC in-house data. Those are our patients, but we get patients from other facilities, etc. Even then, we're still almost at national norm at 15.7%. We're going to talk a little bit about sepsis. Sepsis isn't just infection. Sepsis is what happens when you get an infection and it enters the bloodstream and has catastrophic impact on your body and your organs. It is life-threatening. It is the leading cause of death in hospitals nationally. So you can't read this box and you don't need to. What this tells you is that big block there, that big blue block, is sepsis. That's the number of patients that we see and the amount of resources we put toward treating our patients in our hospital. Sepsis is on our radar, and look how big it is compared to the rest of the care that we provide. I also wanted to say something about this slide, even though you can't read it and understand it. The average hospital in southeastern Oklahoma sees about 40 DRGs, diagnostic related groups. Let me translate that. That is stuff we do. Our hospital does over 90 DRGs. You have a very comprehensive hospital. But this is why sepsis is so critical to us and why it's a quality concern to us. Again, the average mortality rate nationally is 12.5. We're at 6%. Our readmission rate due to sepsis is 11% compared to the national. That's great scores, but I want you to know we are not satisfied with that. One of the things that this hospital has that many hospitals don't is the technology. We have technology that can identify these organisms within 4 to 6 hours, where in other institutions it takes anywhere from 4 to 6 days. Early identification of sepsis means you save lives. Critical care services. I wanted to show this to you. You can see where we are. Pittsburgh County's got the star. I want you to know we're seeing almost 9 patients a week with stroke. It's huge in southeastern Oklahoma. 9 people every week in our hospital having a stroke. So we are the only level 2 stroke center within 90 miles. I want you to remember, time is tissue, whether it be brain tissue or not. Time is tissue. 90 miles before you get to a facility that might be able to care for you. We are a level 2 stroke center. We've been recognized as a stroke center of excellence. STEMI. Translated, heart attack. Look at Pittsburgh County. You're within 65 miles from any other facility that might be able to care for you. We're going to do over 250 procedures this year, and probably more than that. Time is tissue, heart tissue. And when you're having a heart attack, you have cardiologists and interventional cardiologists standing by. Trauma. You're within 75 miles from getting any care for trauma. Number three, when it comes to mortality in southeastern Oklahoma, there's not a week that goes by that a tractor or an ATV doesn't roll over or a motor vehicle accident, and we have some of the catastrophic trauma events that you've ever seen come through our hospital. You are 75 miles from anybody that could take care of you, and most of those facilities do not have and are not equipped take care of you like we have. I'm going to introduce you to one of our newest doctors. He's board certified, trained in trauma from St. Francis, who's now employed in our emergency department, in our surgery department. Mayor, a few years ago, a couple of years ago, you talked about the opioids in the community, and you asked us, what can we do? Opioid reduction. We've reduced opioids by 50% in our hospitals. Many of us have learned that that's where a lot of addiction starts, in a hospital. 50% reduction in opioids. Hydromorphone, IV opioids, it's all downward trends. What's really interesting, we have a 273% increase in non-opioids. Why is this important? Our pain scores from our customers have not gone down. They've gone up. They've improved. Fewer opioids to our patients means fewer people become addicted. This is our second priority, telemedicine technology. We now have, and as of March 1, we will flip the switch. We will have a fully integrated electronic health record. Your outpatient records and inpatient records will be in one medical record. There'll be one portal that you can access that. All these things that we do in telemedicine, all these things that we do in technology, all these are to do the following: patient safety. Anytime we take human beings out of the equation, we limit human error, and that's a patient safety. Patient engagement. Anytime our technology adds engagement to the patient bedside and to the patient, it improves customer service and quality. All these things, data now analytics and reporting, allow us to make better decisions sooner. And our philanthropic, our donor tool for foundation helps us manage those systems. Whether it's a new MRI, a new CT, 3D mammography, it doesn't matter. We are adding technology to what we do every day to improve patient safety, patient engagement, and productivity. Regional expansion. You know, many of you may or may not know, we have an urgent care, we have a clinic, and we have an imaging center in Eufaula. Everything that we do from a regional basis, including our activities in EMS to improve EMS services within southeastern Oklahoma, because we are moving patients from different points along the spectrum, and our partnerships with Southeast Alliance Network to improve mental health services and transportation services. We're recruiting providers now, not only to McAlester and the city of McAlester, but we are placing doctors with our partners throughout southeastern Oklahoma. We are truly expanding our footprint. Priority 4, retail strategy. Really, this comes down to, can we create patient access? Can we create patient convenience? Can we give patients a better experience? Can we improve their satisfaction? And we have done this by consolidating our services and moving them where patients are. You don't have to come to the hospital for some services in the future. You can come to the downtown area. And we all know that's going to have a positive impact and effect on downtown. Priority 5, physician recruitment. We've recruited 12 physicians this year. I'm going to show you what they look like and who they are. There's Dr. David Duvall, trauma surgeon. Dr. Wicks, podiatrist. Dr. Wicks is family medicine. Dr. Matthew Graves, he'll be our new OB-GYN who will start in July. Cindy Sanford, John Lazenby. This is a quilt. Priority 6, market growth and service line development. People ask us, how much can you do and why do you do it? Well, again, our focus on market growth and service line development, again, is around critical care services. Again, you're 65 to 75 miles from anything for critical care. It is absolutely imperative that we maintain our trauma, cardiac, and stroke designations. But we're also interested in the continuum of care. That's why we added hospice. It's why we partnered on the Van Buren House for memory care, assisted living. We've added a sleep study, not only at the hospital, but now we're doing it in home. We are growing our services because that's what our customers and our patients want. Now, this takes a lot of priority 7, it takes a lot of partners. Again, I want to emphasize this. We have multiple partners. This is not all of them. I can't fit them all on this page, but these are major partners to provide the services in the breadth of services and the scope of services in Pittsburgh County, in southeastern Oklahoma. It takes a village of partners. And none of these partners are bigger or better than the other. They are all necessary. Priority 8, financial priorities, as you know, will come twice a year. I'll give you an update on our financials. The bottom line is this. To drive results, we have to remain stable financially. We have to meet our budget. We have to have cost discipline and revenue discipline. Our priority 9 is to put back into our community all our profits for growth. Our master facility plan is a result of our revenue streams. Remember, we are transitioning a 1978 vintage hospital, and we are rebuilding it from the inside out. And the reason we do this is to meet the needs of the future. We are reinvesting our dollars into our facility. So, over the past 10 years, I asked how much money have we reinvested back into the community? Where does our profit go? Again, we are not for profit. I'll remind this council that we don't get a cent for operations. We are not dependent upon the community for operations. We've reinvested in the last 10 years $44 million. Last and not least, priority 10 is to build upon our foundation and increase our philanthropy. Again, our goal is to see our employees, our doctors, our community engaged, those dollars coming to us so we can support the Mercy Clinic, the Tower Project, which includes the Cancer Center, Surgery Center, ICU, and patient registration and admitting. So since we talked about philanthropy, this is just, in the last 3 years, this is some of the activity that the foundation has provided to the hospital. Again, there's a picture of the tower in the future. Within the next 24 to 36 months, we anticipate breaking ground on. That's what it looks like. So, that was our priorities. What I'd like to do is spend a little bit of time, and I think you'll find this interesting, giving you some updates. We employ a lot of people. And I want you to know that 31% of our employees live outside of Pittsburgh County. 47% of our employees live outside the city of McAlester. So when it comes to who we employ, we truly are a regional hospital. And they don't, they show it here. By the way, we were awarded the top workplace in 2019 from the Oklahoman, and we've won other awards, and we continue to win awards. The engagement of our employees is growing. The culture is changing, and it's very positive. We put millions of dollars back into the community. We're a major contributor to the community. So again, I want to kind of close in the last few slides as a reminder. Oklahoma hospitals are in financial crisis. These are the hospitals that have either closed or filed for bankruptcy. I want you to know that in almost every county touching Pittsburgh County, we've either had a hospital close or we have had a hospital file bankruptcy. What I did not include is any hospital that had who was merged or acquired by another institution. Otherwise, almost all we would have 6 counties touching us that would be red. This is what's happening in Oklahoma. Again, it's not that you can read this, but if you'll notice, this is where our patients come from. More than 50% of our patients are coming from our primary service area outside of McAlester. We truly are regional when it comes to our patient care load. We're seeing an increase in visits over a 10-year period. We're seeing an increase in the number of babies we're seeing. Outpatient registrations, we're seeing an increase. And just to conclude, would like to remind you, and you may or may not know this, but our legacy goes deep, back to 1895. McAlester was one of the first hospitals in Indian Territory, in the state of Sequoia. And because of a catastrophic event in Crabs is why we have a hospital where hundreds of miners were killed or injured. And basically All Saints and others came to the realization that they needed a hospital here. And then in 1978, you see that the leaders back then, the Bass family and others, said, we can do this. And they built this hospital. And so we, and when I say we, I mean our team, feels very strongly that we have accountability and responsibility to continue that mission, to continue and provide care, not only to City of McAlester, and not only to Pittsburgh County, but all of southeastern Oklahoma. At the end of the day, we will be held accountable for caring for these folks. And so we will continue that mission. And that would be my presentation. And I'll entertain any questions that you might have.
Councilman Brown?
Thank you, Mayor. That was a good presentation. One thing I wanted to ask is, someone shows up, and because opiates are a big problem in this community, problem. I don't have to tell you that. Is there some kind of way to, if they have this problem, do you usually just refer them out to someone else, or maybe to a mental health treatment, or send them to Miss Cody or Norman? I mean, I'm just wondering.
Councilman Brown, McAlester Regional took the lead in the formation of Southeast Alliance Network, which is comprised of other hospitals and federally qualified health centers. And in our community needs assessment, the community was all 14 counties in southeastern Oklahoma. The number one issue that came to the top was mental health services. And you'll find out that mental health and opioid addiction sometimes have comorbidities. They literally are linked in a lot of ways. We have a mental health consortium of all participants where we get together and we try to manage the mental health needs in southeastern Oklahoma. I can tell you, when the legislation cut the mental health budget by 25% a few years ago, it had a dramatic impact on our ability to take care of this facility. We added geropsychiatry to our hospital, but that's a very small sliver of the mental health needs for southeastern Oklahoma. We have addiction treatment centers, inpatient, outpatients, but the demand is greater than our capabilities. But again, we formed a consortium to to help try to manage the problem, and the consortium is trying to deal with the problem with as few resources as we have, but maximizing our resources to the good of that cause. Thank you, sir. Great question.
It's fighting the tidal wave with a bucket, though, isn't it?
Drinking water out of a fire hose. You bet.
Anyone else? Councilwoman Harrison?
Thank you so much, Mr. Payne, for the presentation. I know we met several months ago, and we talked a little bit about interpersonal training for staff, because there have been some concerns about the interaction when people are in the ER. Anyway, the interaction. And has there been any changes pursuant to that?
Yeah, thank you very much. We have focused on customer service education and training. We now do it more than just orientation. We do it 4 times a year now.
Okay.
A lot of it is our hiring practices have changed. We are now being more selective in who we hire. We're looking for people with a humble heart, contrite spirit, but with good customer service skills. It's showing up in our customer service surveys. We're improving, and we're seeing better employee engagement. And so,
Great.
overall, we're seeing improvements.
Also, are you feeling, when it talks about the cancer unit, could you tell us a little bit about that? Is that a separate entity? Is the funding that goes to the hospital also going to the cancer unit, or is that, how does that work?
The Cancer Center is a facility which McAlester Regional owns and manages. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
The services provided in the Cancer Center belong to OSCRI, and basically what was formerly the Tulsa Cancer Institute. So we lease the building to them. They're our tenants, and it's a mutually beneficial relationship. So basically, we don't provide cancer care directly. We provide the services, the facilities, and the infrastructure that allows them to provide that care. They are based out of Tulsa. It's a 50-50 joint venture between St. John's and the old Cancer Institute. And so what they bring to us is the physicians, the clinicians, and some of the infrastructure. Not the infrastructure, some of the equipment. We bring the facility and the amenities that allow them to practice. And when we build a new cancer center, they will be expanding their footprint in that new cancer center.
Okay, in other words, in plain words, you're saying that they don't receive any funding, they're a separate entity, their funding comes from somewhere else.
That's correct.
And is it okay to ask this other question? Do you still have a veterans clinic there also? And could you tell us about that?
Well, you know, the Veterans Administration has 10,000 square feet that they lease from us in what formerly we called the doctor's building.
Okay.
With Muskogee VA let me rephrase that. The Veterans Administration is going to open up a brand new hospital, VA hospital in Tulsa. And they are going to convert the Muskogee VA, probably, my guess, to long-term care. They're already talking to us about expanding the footprint in McAlester. So we have 10,000 square feet that we lease to the VA. I suspect over the next 5 years, it's going to grow. They're going to require more space.
So how does their funding, does that come through the federal government? Okay, now.
Again, they lease facilities from us. We are the leaseor. But the reason we do that is because we have a very large veteran constituency,
Right.
and they use the VA at our hospital, and then they purchase services from us, ancillary services and support services. So it's a very symbiotic, good relationship.
And they have their own separate doctors that you don't share the doctors?
Not at this
Okay,
time.
understand.
We don't share doctors
Okay,
at this
okay.
time.
All right, thank you.
But they utilize our home health, our hospice, probably will begin using our assisted living facilities. Again, the federal government has asked the VA to begin, for lack of a better word, outsourcing some of their services for veterans who live in the rural communities. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
Anyone else? Vice Mayor Stevens?
Mr. Keith, what do you see in healthcare for Southeastern Oklahoma in the next couple of years?
I see more rural hospital closures. I see more erosion in healthcare delivery systems. I see an increase in telehealth and telemedicine to help replace some of that. I see and hope that there'll be special dispensation for rural healthcare in terms of reimbursement support from the state and the federal government. Rural healthcare is in crisis, and I suspect telemedicine is probably going to be one of the tools, and it's why it's one of our priorities that'll replace and supplant some of the facilities that can no longer sustain themselves.
Do you think there's an opportunity for McAlester Regional to step into those rural areas like that and provide telehealth?
In fact, I had a meeting today with an individual who's going to help us devise our strategic plan to do that. I think we should do that, and we're going to have to do that. And the answer is yeah, it's part of our strategic plan.
Mr. Keith, when you talk about telemedicine, is that like having Skype or FaceTime, and there's a physician and a patient? Is this what you're talking about? Or what do you mean?
Telehealth and telemedicine is a wide range of activity. Some people think telehealth can be the phone. Some people say it's interaction through Skype and other technology. The thing about healthcare, it's got to be on very secure networks because of privacy issues. And so a lot of it's all the above. E-health visits, where you can actually see your provider in real time and you can have that conversation and so forth, from the phone to all sorts of venues. The technology is changing so rapidly. We're trying to figure out when do we step into this, because as soon as we step in, our technology is archaic. And so we're trying to figure out how to manage that and do it responsibly from a financial perspective, and do it to where it'll meet the needs of the community. And also, Councilman Stevens, one of the other things that you're going to see in the rural communities is non-traditional providers like CVS, Amazon, Walmart are going to step into the healthcare arena and compete with hospitals, clinics, and other providers. That's the other thing you can see in the future.
Walmart's actually already built one in Atlanta, I believe.
In Georgia? Yeah. Okay. Great questions. Thank you. Anything else?
I think that's it. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you,
Keith.
Mayor.
We will move to agenda item number 2, discussion and consideration of an ordinance amending the code of ordinance of the city of McAlester by creating property maintenance standards. Ms. Clifford.
Good evening, council. The ordinance that you have included in your packet is essentially a first reading of a draft ordinance that our staff wishes to bring before you and for consideration. And this is basically to create a minimum property standard to ensure that there's adequate residential housing in our community. In many occasions, our code enforcement and building inspection has encountered some very unfortunate conditions in some of the houses. There are some pictures that were also provided to you of some of those instances, and we can most certainly provide some more pictures and information to you. But this code is, up for review and recommendation to any changes that you feel that are necessary. But this is to ensure that they have adequate plumbing, adequate electrical service, and that they're connected to those utilities, and that the structures are secure and safe and free of holes in the walls, and have adequate windows and door coverings.
Any questions?
What are you wanting us to do? Well, thank you so much for the work you've done with this. Exactly what are you wanting us to do? To review it? Or what?
this is just an opportunity for the council to review it, to look through this ordinance, and my plan is to bring it back to the council.
Okay.
And I encourage any of you to please reach out to me, contact us, talk to us about, our thoughts on this, and welcome, any of your thoughts and suggestions in writing of this ordinance. But I would like to bring it back to this council for, to continue drafting this and to eventually adopt it.
So at this point, it's just strictly a review. Thank you.
It is, Councilwoman Harrison, if I could,
Okay.
one of the things that we've heard over and over from the council is bringing an ordinance or a change and asking you to vote on it, presenting it and asking you to vote on it.
Okay.
That's very, very difficult to do, and we understand that. So what we want to start doing in the future is almost have 2 or 3 readings on an ordinance,
Okay.
where we present it, give you the opportunity to review it for a period of time, bring it back for input from the council, be able to incorporate some of that input into the ordinance, and then eventually bring it back for approval. Instead of just springing this stuff on you and just asking you to take care of it for us.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
So, like a lot of these issues in this picture seem similar to issues on houses that we condemn.
Yes.
So, I guess my question is, what in the existing codes, why can't you take care of these pictures with the existing codes?
With the condemnation, they're usually unoccupied structures. These are structures that people are actually living in. And that's the big difference. We don't necessarily want to kick them out of their homes. We would like for those problems to be corrected. There's been some that has come before you, for condemned that they were vacant at the time. Many of these are not always owner occupied. Some of them are occupied by tenants, and so they're limited on what they can do. They move into these structures that there's known plumbing issues or electrical issues, and then they get in there, they can't get water hooked up, or they've got sewage flowing into their backyard, and it's very difficult to make things happen with these. So this is a very very minimum property maintenance code. It's not like the International Code Council's property maintenance code, which it covers everything from chipping paint to loose windows and doors, and it's kind of, in my opinion, more aesthetic stuff. This is very basic necessities that I think that people should have when they live and reside in a home.
Thanks, Mayor. Then we want to ask, what if you go out to one of these structures and someone is living there without running water or sewer talk? What happens?
There's not a code that actually requires them to have water connected, so it's difficult to address it. Most of the time we go out when there's plumbing issues, there's water leaking underneath the house into the backyard, going into the neighbor's backyard, or there's sewage issues. And those, basically we're saying, if you don't correct this problem, we're gonna pull your meter, cut your water off. Which, it's kind of difficult to do, but, most cases they correct them. And then we manage to get the water back on. But we can't allow for, the water to pool in the backyards and the sewage to go, it's tough.
So basically, if there is a house like that, they just continue to live in it. Not a whole lot you can do then.
That's correct.
Without, okay.
Yeah, there's many people that live in houses without running water. They're hauling water in or catching water.
Yeah, thank you.
On the ordinance, I love the actual language of the ordinance. I understand this idea of the emergency enforcement procedure, that provision, but I don't really like this idea of the oral orders being issued. think that's a real problem, just to track it, to verify what was said, if there's some sort of dispute. I really think, regardless of the nature of the situation, we should, all these notices should be in writing.
Any other questions or comments?
I've got one. I know this is probably an odd question, Mrs. Clifton, but on page 3 of 7, what is the difference between an occupant and a person? An occupant, it said, any person over a year old is considered an occupant, but a person is an individual from a corporation. So, what, you enlighten us on what that means? Page 3 of 7. Occupant
I think it's just
versus person.
establishing, who's an occupant, if they're over a year old. I mean, I'm not sure. I mean, we can modify this. I actually borrowed a lot of this from other codes and ordinances, so I can clarify that area if I'm, if you like.
Thank you. I just thought that was interesting that an occupant would be considered different from a person.
Have you discussed anything along these lines with the Department of Health?
Actually, it was probably 2 years ago. We actually sat down and had a meeting with the Department of Health and Health Department, DEQ, and DHS, and kind of discussed a lot of this and determined the best way. A lot of instances DEQ cannot get involved. Department of Health also, they're kind of limited on some of the things that they do. However, they all see a need in it. And whatever we do, we want to continue to work closely with DHS and maybe some of the community service organizations to connect these people with some resources to help alleviate some of their financial burdens in correcting some of these problems. So basically, yes, we've had those meetings and they are concerned as well.
Any other questions, comments? Will be. Okay, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Okay, so will you walk me through the process? The notice goes out, people don't comply with it, person doesn't comply with it. What happens then?
Basically, we try to either cite them to, encourage them to try to correct the issue, or there is the prosecution, or maybe taking action in district court, maybe an injunction. I'd have to review that more closely with legal. But the way that it's written is that there's penalties for the owner of the property if it's not corrected.
I'm sorry, I've missed this. Where are the penalties?
The penalties is in paragraph D. It's at the very bottom of page 6. So there's prosecution in paragraph C, and then it goes on to penalties, and basically it's the basic penalty that we have prescribed in section 1A of our codes, which is the $500 plus the court cost, which is like $84. So it's about $584 or up to $584.
So the city would charge them with a misdemeanor if they were convicted, and then we have $500 plus the court cost?
Up to $584, and that's at the judge's discretion. Many instances when we do abate issues for codes, we write the ticket, we tell them if they correct the problem before the court date, we drop the fine, and they just pay the court cost. So it just kind of encourages them to get it done.
If we adopted this, do you have an idea of how many structures, you would enforce this upon?
I can come up with some counts of what we've experienced in the past. I would say we probably encounter at least one a month, but I would like to reiterate that this is in no way an intent to go out and seek these and kick people out of their homes. This is something to where we have a way to enforce for those that we get complaints on. I don't have the staff to go out and find all of these, and I also don't have the staff to adopt a full property maintenance code to enforce something to that level. This is basically, very minimum, small steps what I feel is in the right direction to try to ensure that we have quality and adequate housing in McAlester.
And if history's any indication, it won't be an issue. They'll contact us. I've had 2 people already this week contacted about substandard living that having to deal with. Let's proceed.
Ms. Clifton, if we adopted this, let's say tonight, what changes for you tomorrow on enforcing these?
It provides a means to require them to have running water and sewer and electricity in their homes anytime we encounter it. Because right now our codes don't require that.
Predominantly with the homes that you're going to, are these owners of these homes, or are they predominantly people that are renting or bluntly have just moved in?
There's very few owner occupied. I would say predominantly they're tenants, renters.
Do you foresee this causing an issue for those tenants and those people more than the landlords?
Perhaps, but we've had some that we've have addressed, and those people, were fine with moving. They get in contracts and they have a hard time getting out of them. Not many people have the money to hire an attorney and enforce Landlord Tenant Act. And but there has been some. We went into a house that had some electrical wiring issues, and that person ended up moving out of the house because of the issues that were there. So, you're welcome.
Any other questions? We'll get this again at least once more and possibly twice more. Review. Could you email the ordinance to me?
Yes.
Anyone else that's interested?
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We will move on to agenda item number 3, discussion and possible action on considering 2012 Ford F-350 ambulance from the McAlester Fire Department as surplus. Chief Brewer.
Mayor, Council. As you may recall, a short time ago, Council approved the purchase of a new chassis to be used to replace one of our ambulance chassis with. We've since received the new chassis and we're ready to make that swap. In doing so, we're going to have a 2012 model chassis that is no longer needed. We're asking the Council to surplus that and to accept an offer from Emergency Service Systems in the amount of $2,500 for the purchase of that chassis.
Feel like that's a fair offer?
I believe so. I've discussed with fleet maintenance personnel. They were okay with that.
Any questions, comments? Take a motion in a second to approve. Motion Councilman Smith, second Councilman Brown. Any discussion? Would you call the roll, please?
Councilman Smith,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Stevens,
Yes.
Cox,
Yes.
Harrison,
Yes.
Pritchard,
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes, the motion carries. Thank you.
Mayor, Council, thank you.
Agenda item number 4, presentation of the monthly financial update. Ms. Smith.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Welcome, Councilman Cox. Glad to have you. Alright, in your packets, is our normal monthly reports for our finances. The first one you have is your general fund at a glance. This is financial summary as of January 31st, 2020. Percentage of the year is 58.33%. Is where we're at. Our revenues stand currently at 55.11%, which unfortunately is under budget. Expenses just slightly over budget, sitting at 58.45%. We are taking the steps necessary to control the spending and get these items in line. Below that is the MPWA fund at a glance. Revenues again are under budget. It's invested at 54.53%, expenditures at 52.91, also under budget. Our next slide, report, you'll have the City of McAlester financial report, or financial update. This is your general fund sales, tax revenue. We'll see that we were reporting as of February, down over last year, and down over last month. Again, very concerned about where we're at with our sales tax coming in. The next slide is our use tax. Again, February over last month, but quite a bit under last month. Over on for last year. Our next graph is a monthly comparison. Let's see. Sorry. MPWA revenues, water sales, which is residential and commercial, for the month of January, slightly over last year and last month, but on a steady decline as of right now. We are doing some major searching for some possibilities that what might be causing this. Water districts and wholesale water sales for January. Significant amount less over last year, and just slightly above over last month. Again, we're having quite a bit of a wet season, lots of rain that we've encountered, but we still think that there's some additional concerns there might be contributing to our water sales. Let's see. Treasurer's report shows our cash in the bank. One thing you'll notice on that has been added to this report, the Treasurer's report, is our CD that was purchased to fund the vehicles that was approved a couple of council meetings ago.
Any questions? Councilman Pritchard?
Okay, so I just wondered about something. On the water districts, the wholesale business, why, like if you look at this graph, last year in April and May, sales were really high. We don't know why that was. Does anybody know?
Well, last year for April,
Yeah, they were quite a bit higher in April and May than they were the previous year. I'm just curious. Do we expect that to repeat?
for the water districts in wholesale, I'm not sure what the increase what's contributed to those high months. I could tell you that right now. I can get some information for you and get back with you on it.
Okay. I was asking that kind of because, you know, our revenues for both from MPW and the city are under budget, and if I remember correctly, we budget every month revenues. Like we don't do a monthly budget of the revenues.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Correct.
So when I'm looking back at these charts, it looks like, and I haven't actually added up all the different revenues, but it looks like our revenues for the upcoming months generally are lower than the previous months. Is that, am I off base there? Am I?
I don't have necessarily the budget in front of me to be able to confirm that or not, but
I mean, I guess I'm just concerned. I mean, I'm concerned that our revenues are under budget.
yes, definitely we all are.
But I'm concerned that they're actually more under budget than it looks like, because, well, yeah, based upon sort of the cash flow throughout the course of the year, because it looks like, February, March, April, May, and June, the remaining months are not super strong revenue months. So I don't know, what are we doing to, plan for if we don't get to budget, if we're 5% off the budget?
And I'm going to address that in my city manager's report after we get through this. But one of the things to help with your concerns are, we are actually looking at all those master meters, the age of those master meters that goes to all the districts and also our commercial accounts. We know that there's a number of them out there. What we're going to be doing is using infrastructure money going forward to replace those master meters. They're very expensive, they're large units. And we're going to be hiring contractors because the best laid plans for mice and men is to do it ourselves. But we find out that the day that we're going to do it, we have 3 breaks over here and we can't get to it. And we're continually behind. So we think
You're talking
it's
about on the wholesale?
the wholesale, yes, sir, in the rural districts. We have a large amount of big meters out there. We're talking $6,000, $8,000, $10,000 meters. So we're addressing that as we speak right now.
Can I ask an additional question? On the treasurer's report,
Yes.
so we've been, and this is, we've been doing this, but the pool's cash has been decreasing for the last, handful of months. What is our, I say that pool cash has been decreasing, the balance at the end of the month has been decreasing. What is our comfort level, or your comfort level, for that pool cash number? Where do you want it to be? Or is that a number is that a relevant number to be discussing?
Well, I mean, it's something that, that we always wanted to, everything that we do, it hits pretty much pooled cash in some way or some form. So, we want it to, not be at a level that we couldn't be able to pay our bills or make payroll or anything of that nature. So, we want to have that in there to, not have to have the worries.
Well,
As far as the dollar,
what dollar amount is it?
it's kind of hard to say what, to pinpoint a dollar amount.
Normally, we carry somewhere between $10 and $11 million in our First National Bank pooled account. One of the things that's reflective of this decrease in our balances, you can tie immediately back to sales tax. You can also tie it back to our water sales, sewer sales, rural water district sales. Our revenues are down significantly, and I'm going to talk about that. Oh, you're doing great. You're making it easy on me.
I'll wait.
You're making it easy on me.
Anybody else? Any other questions?
Follow-up question on that. I know that we talked about those meters for the water district and also had to have been last year. We replaced any of those?
We have replaced a couple of them. We've replaced a Berry Plastics meter here recently. We just got in the meters for KTC. So yeah, we're continuing to do that. But we're going to start hiring outside contractors that can get in there and get these things done.
Do you have an idea of how much we'd be looking at since we're hiring outside contractors?
You're probably looking at somewhere around $75,000 to $100,000 in meters, just the large meters, and you're probably looking at somewhere around $20,000 to $30,000 to have those installed. And those are just rough numbers right now.
Thank you.
We do have nine of the rural water district meters that we really have drawn a concern about, and that we do have already have our utility maintenance and the folks out there, looking at those and seeing the functioning of those meters definitely on the downhill slide of things.
When is our rate renewal with them? Is it every fiscal year? that we
Yes.
renew?
Yes.
Thank you. Would you send me those contracts if you wouldn't mind?
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Let's proceed with something, just for what it's worth, audit and finance committee, this is actually in the process of reviewing all of that as well, so. In a future meeting, that will be coming up, for sure. Councilman Cox?
On these meters, are they the smart meters?
Yes, we will be installing. Yes, absolutely. Everything that we put in the ground now, since we've been doing that transition now for a couple of years.
contracts.
Please, if you don't mind. Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
We will now move on to new business. Any matter not known or which could not have reasonably been foreseen prior to the time of posting the agenda in accordance with section 311.9, Title 25 Oklahoma State statutes. Do we have any new business? We will move to the city manager's report.
So before I get into the financials, I want to talk a little bit about some of the things that are going on here at the city. I have enclosed my city manager's report, tremendous amount of information in it. If anybody has any questions about it, I'd be more than happy to answer those questions. But a couple of things that are coming up. We are on schedule to launch the new website on March the 6th, 2020. It won't be fully completed. It's a process we're going through, but that new site will be up and running on the 6th. I want to invite everybody on March the 19th to the handoff of the deed from the Oakland Theater to the city of McAlester. That'll be down at the Oakland Theater on the 19th. We'll send out invitations to everybody. Council approved a couple of months ago a personnel study that is performance-based for our employees here at the city of McAlester. This last week, we received the preliminary draft on that, and we'll be working through that process over the next 30, 60, 90 days, and then be able to bring that entire report, which is performance-based, to the council. So we've been seeing a slowdown for quite some time here at the city, and we've been managing it. We've been managing it on a day-to-day basis through our operating expense side of the budget. I can tell you that over the last couple of months, this turned from a downturn to a significant downturn in the economy here in McAlester. I think everybody's aware that oil and gas industry has been pulling out of here for about a year now. I can tell you that the oil and gas industry is completely gone now. There's nobody left. There's very, very minimal activity that's happening in southeast Oklahoma. With that turnaround in that economy, we had a tremendous amount of workers that left this community, that were living here, living in our hotels, eating in our restaurants, spending money in our retail businesses, basically really putting a lot of force behind our sales tax activity here. That's gone. To give you an indication of what we've seen sales tax wise, about 3 months ago we were down about $160,000 on the budget. We bounced back the following month, which would have been November the 15th to December the 15th. No, November the 16th to December the 15th, which gave you Black Friday. We were pretty much flat for that month on budget. Last month, which would have been December the 16th to January the 15th receipts, we were down $198,000 under budget. We just received preliminary numbers from the state with a couple of days of receipts left to go. We're down $220,000 this month. What we're seeing is reminiscent of what we saw in 2009, 2010. Everybody knows that that was a significant turnaround nationwide, and it affected the city of McAlester greatly. When we took over in 2009, 2010, we were averaging between $200,000 and $250,000 a month everybody for sales tax. We are seeing reminiscent of that time right now. During that period, we had to take some very, very quick and expedient actions. In a 6-month period of time, we had to reduce our budget by $1.5 million, and we were very successful doing that. That $1.5 million came with a lot of pain associated with it. We lost some employees. We had some retirement buyouts. We had unions that gave up merit increases, employees that gave up merit increases. We basically had to stop everything here at the city. I remember at one time we received a check for $70,000 on a settlement, and I had to talk this council into giving us that money to buy asphalt patch holes in our streets. That's how bad we were in 2009, 2010. We're not there, okay? But it's becoming reminiscent. I'm not the type of person that cries wolf, but I want you to understand the significance of this. One thing that we haven't seen yet is the layoffs of 177 employees at Spirit Aero Systems. That is not reflected in any of these numbers. Those people have had disposable income that they spend in our community. So we're going to see somewhat of a turn there also. I believe the base is starting to manage their overtime a little tighter. So this is all changing for our community right now as we speak. So do we have a plan? Yes. Is it a formal plan? No. We will be presenting that and bringing it to you over the next several weeks to month. A formal plan on what we're going to do to handle this. I can tell you right now that we're working with all the departments and we're reducing our expenditures now. We can't increase our revenues. We can on the meters, those type of things. We can't increase our revenues when it comes to sales tax, use tax. So we will be looking at implementing a number of things to help control this situation because I don't see it turning around immediately. Here's a couple of good things as we talk about this that we didn't have in 2009, 2010. Since then, we have this council, this city, the people of our community have implemented a stormwater fee that has done tremendous amount of good for our community in being able to control those problems that we see with our stormwater and to be able to start building new structures to take care of the areas of our community that we're seeing flooding, we're seeing problems in our community. Today, that amount of money is about $850,000 a year. We didn't have that last time. So that's a program that continue to move on. We have an infrastructure tax, sales tax, that is dedicated for the infrastructure of this community. That is anything associated with water, sewer lines, stormwater, if it falls into that, the maintenance of stormwater, road construction, our plants, whether it's motors, pumps, all of those type of things. We have about $2.1 million a year that we can put towards our infrastructure that's not going to go away. This is money that's going to allow us to keep moving forward and keep improving our community. We have our tourism expo money, which is 6%. Last year it raised about $850,000 for tourism in the expo, and I think we've expanded some of that to include our parks and the maintenance of some of our parks. So this council, the community, has given us avenues to help mediate some of these problems going forward. We also have a fee that's collected for our 911, our dispatchers, which we have, I believe, 18 or 21 dispatchers right now. That fee is in place to help take care of that department and is dedicated for 911 services. You know, what happens with our sales tax is the bulk of all of our sales tax money, 66% of it goes to police and fire. The other 34% is used for all other activities here at the city. So we've got to manage all of this, from our unions to our non-uniform committees to administration to everybody here at the city. So we are going to be bringing you programs in the near future, give you solid information to help you understand the situation that we're in, and also what we're doing to mediate this situation going forward. One thing that I'm very, very proud of our employees in this organization is our ability, and we've shown this year after year after year, is our ability to adapt to situations that arise And situations arise here all the time. Fortunately, the last 8 years or so, the situations that have arisen have been growth in our community, and we've all of our citizens have benefited from that growth and those opportunities that came with it, and the improvements that we've been able to do for our community. We're in a situation now where we're going to have to pull back for a while. We're going to have to watch things very closely and continue to try and grow our community in other aspects, whether it's job growth, other organizations, whether it's retail business moving forward, whatever it is, we have to look at those avenues and look at it very carefully. So with that, I gave you a very detailed report, not only on the finances of the city, but also some of the activities that are going on with the city. So any questions that anybody has? I know this is a lot to lay on you, but we're seeing this turn very quickly.
Question. Thank you so much for your review, Mr. Stazak. On page 6, it talks about the plant transformer. PSO is still working on it. You haven't heard from them, but it needs to be addressed. Could you tell us what that's about?
Interesting enough, we have a transformer out at our water treatment plant that's, I believe it's about 60 years old. They don't make this transformer anymore. We have been fortunate to find a used one. This transformer goes down. PSO, this transformer is owned by the city of McAlester. Most transformers are owned by PSO.
Okay.
This is a different situation because it's a very unique transformer. We've been able to locate a used one, locate a refurbished one. We're going to be bringing that to the council to purchase that transformer and then send the existing transformer out to be reworked.
How much is that? Do you know?
It's about $60,000, I believe, about $60,000.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Council Pritchard.
Second Street, I don't know if I didn't see it on the report, between Wyandotte and Chickasaw.
Yeah, we had told you guys about 2 to 3 weeks. I think we're on week 4 is today. We were bumped by the manufacturer who actually makes the manholes, because manholes are not on the shelf. Manholes are all different lengths, depending on how deep they go into the ground, and also where those pipes come into those manholes, and they come in at different locations. So each manhole is specific to the site, and because we're only one manhole, we were bumped by somebody that needed multiple manholes. And so our understanding is it's supposed to be this week.
Yes.
Oliver?
Yes, sir.
And we have a contractor standing by who can mobilize on that as soon as we have the manhole.
Do you know how much we're gonna spend on that?
The manhole's a couple thousand. And do you remember what this Oliver Skimbo? This is a stormwater problem because it developed as stormwater.
Not off the top of my head.
I think it's probably less than $10,000.
Yes, sir.
Do you think we'll fund all of that repair with stormwater money?
I believe some of it's a combination of infrastructure and stormwater.
Any other questions?
On page 2, could you tell us what it says the most critical water sampling equipment needed for compliance monitoring is how do you pronounce that word? Turbidimeters or something?
Turbidity meter.
All right, thank you. And the estimated cost is going to be over $27,000. Could you tell us what that's happening?
Sure. At our next meeting, Councilwoman Harrison, we will be presenting our capital budget for the upcoming year.
Okay.
All we're doing here is identifying needs.
Okay.
This is our water treatment plant report for the month.
Mhm.
And you're going to have a portion of the capital budget that addresses water plant needs, capital needs in upcoming years. And then what we'll do is there's about 10 or 12 of them. We'll prioritize those just like we do for all the departments.
Okay, you'll have the category and you'll have the finances that are needed to take care of that. Is this what you're saying? Okay, all right, thank you.
Now, whether or not we have the money to do
Right.
that is a different story.
You're just saying there's a need for this particular amount of money in that category.
Our capital budget identifies the needs and the future needs of the city. Doesn't mean that we necessarily have the revenue to cover all those needs.
It's a 5-year plan.
5 years. All right, thank you.
Anyone else? Alright, then we will move to, remarks and inquiries by the city council. Mr. Smith?
One from Steve Cox.
Councilman Stevens? Councilman Cox? Councilman Brown?
I just want to welcome everybody aboard here, new members and current members that's still here with us.
You still hanging on?
I was getting ready to say, Miss Harrison, she works a lot on the weekend, doing a lot of things. I'm earning that $50 when I go with her.
Let me take out taxes.
So, but I want to forget the Buffaloes. Even though they had a kind of a rough basketball season, I still want to just thank those guys for playing their hearts out because they're young and they put out that effort. And I sit next to them now. It used to be Brumley's chair, and now they gave it to me. So I don't know what that means.
Councilman Harrison?
All right, first of all, I would like to welcome Mr. Cox onto board and congratulate you again, Mayor, on your reelection. And I would like to thank Mrs. Middleton for helping me with these proclamations. She helped me with the Black History Month proclamation and the Women's History Month, which is coming up, so I appreciate that effort there. And I was at an event on Sunday at Mount Nebo Baptist Church in Hartshorn, and to our surprise and delight, the man on the left received a surprise award, Mr. Councilman James Brown, so congratulations on that, along with Rosalind Jones, Emma Watts, and Jamel Holloway. And to all the African American citizens in McAlester who continue to create works of excellency, I commend them on that. Thank you so much for your proclamation.
Councilman Pritchard? Mayor's comments. I just want to reiterate everyone's welcome. Councilman Cox, be careful what you wish for. And just a quick update on we had a meeting at the lead committee along with the Chamber of Commerce, which was basically a question and answer listening session as far as the hotel motel tax goes, and they will be meeting again March 10th at noon, which is the same day that we have a council meeting. So we will have an action item on the agenda on the council meeting. It doesn't necessarily mean that we'll actually take action because we'll be still waiting. We will have the results of their opinion at that time. So that we will recess the council meeting. I would take a motion to convene as McAlester Airport Authority. Motion to include approval of minutes from February 11th, 2020 regular meeting. McAlester Airport Authority. Confirm action taken on City Council agenda item B and to adjourn. Motion Councilman Smith, second Councilman Brown. Any discussion? Clerk, call the roll, please.
Councilman Smith?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Harrison? Yes. Richard?
Yes.
Stevens?
Yes.
Cox?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes, and the motion carries. I would now take a motion to convene as McAlester Public Works Authority. Motion to include approval of minutes from the February 11th, 2020 regular meeting of the McAlester Public Works Authority. Confirm action taken on City Council agenda item B and to adjourn. Motion Councilman Smith, second Councilman Brown. Any discussion? Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Councilman Smith?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Stevens?
Yes.
Cox?
Yes.
Harrison? Yes. Richard?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes, and the motion carries. I now take a motion to convene as McAlester Retirement Trust Authority. Motion to include approval of minutes from January 28th, 2020 regular meeting of McAlester Retirement Trust Authority. Approval of retirement benefits for the period of February 2020 and to adjourn. Motion Councilman Smith, second Councilman Brown. Any discussion? Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Councilman Smith?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Stevens?
Yes.
Cox?
Yes.
Harrison? Yes. Richard?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes, and the motion carries. We will now reconvene as council. I take a motion to second to adjourn. Motion Councilman Smith, second Councilman Pritchard. Any discussion? Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Councilman Smith?
Yes.
Richard?
Yes.
Cox?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
No, okay, thanks.
Yes. Stevens? Mayor?
Yes, we're adjourned. Thanks, guys.